Have you ever felt totally helpless dealing with your dog's anxiety or aggression? It's just so frustrating, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into a completely different way of looking at these problems. And it suggests the root cause isn't in their head at all, but somewhere you would probably never expect.
So let's start with a scene that I'm sure is familiar to a lot of you. You know, a dog that absolutely panics the second you leave the house, barks at every little sound, or just reacts with fear for no reason you can see. It's a common story for sure, but the real explanation might just blow your mind.
For years, the go-to answer for this stuff has always been more training, more discipline. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if these behaviors aren't them being bad, but are actually a signal, like a cry for help from deep inside their body?
Yeah, a lot of us see these behaviors and we immediately think, oh, it's a personality flaw, or I failed at training. We see the separation anxiety, that nonstop hyperactivity, the freaking out over tiny noises, and we just get frustrated. But what we're looking at here are just the symptoms, not the actual cause.
And this is exactly where we need to shift our whole perspective. That old idea that it's just a training issue, it's being completely challenged by a ton of new science that points to a physiological root cause. So here, you can see the two ideas side by side. The old way of thinking basically says you have a bad dog that just needs more discipline. But the new, scientific view, it says something totally different. You might have an unwell dog who's suffering from a gut imbalance or even chronic inflammation. It completely reframes the issue from psychological to physiological.
And that leads us right to the core idea of all this. There is a powerful and often completely overlooked connection between your dog's gut and their brain. It's so influential, in fact, that scientists actually have a name for it.
It's called the gut-brain axis. The best way to think of it is like a superhighway of information that's constantly running between the gut and the brain. And we're not just talking about digestion here. This network influences mood, emotion, and behavior. It's exactly why the gut is so often called the second brain.
And if you want to understand just how powerful this second brain really is, just look at this number. 95%.
I mean, that is staggering. A whopping 95% of serotonin, the key hormone for happiness and feeling stable, is produced in your dog's gut lining, not their brain. So think about what that means. An unhealthy gut directly leads to an unstable mood. The connection is right there. It's undeniable.
And listen, this isn't just some theory. It's being backed by some really compelling research. For instance, one study in 2020 linked aggression in dogs to having fewer types of gut microbes. Another one found that anxious dogs often are missing key good bacteria. There's even evidence that just adding specific probiotics can directly reduce anxiety. The science is all pointing in one clear direction.
Okay, so we know the connection is there, but what's actually happening on a mechanical level? When this incredibly important system starts to fail, what breaks?
Well, it often comes down to something called leaky gut syndrome. Okay, picture the gut lining as a really, really fine mesh filter. It's designed to only let good stuff, like nutrients, get through. But with leaky gut, that filter gets damaged. It develops these tiny little gaps that let harmful stuff leak out into the bloodstream where it absolutely does not belong.
And this process, it happens like a chain reaction. First, the gut wall gets damaged. Second, nasty bacterial toxins leak into the bloodstream. Third, those toxins travel all the way up to the brain, causing this low-grade, constant inflammation. And that neuroinflammation is the final domino, because it messes up the brain's ability to regulate emotion, leading directly to the anxiety and aggression that we see on the outside.
Now, this whole process is a big deal for any dog, but it is especially critical during one specific time in their life. Yup, puppyhood. This is what you could call the golden window of opportunity. The health of a puppy's gut is literally programming their emotional blueprint for the rest of their entire life.
So why is it so crucial then? Well, for one, a puppy's gut biome is what builds their entire immune system. A healthy, calm gut creates a calm state of mind, which is absolutely essential for them to learn and socialize properly. But on the flip side, an inflamed gut puts them in a constant state of stress. And a stressed out puppy just can't learn. No amount of training is going to stick if their body is constantly on high alert.
So if the root of the problem is a physical one, then the solution has to be physical too. This means we have to stop focusing only on the behaviors we see and start actually addressing the cause underneath. So the new way of thinking isn't about throwing training out the window. Not at all. It's about putting their physiology first.
The goal is to heal the gut, to create a calm internal environment, because that's what makes the brain ready and able to learn and make lasting behavioral changes. The approach here is really logical and direct. First, you have to rebuild the gut wall itself. That's like patching that broken filter and stopping the leak at the source. Second, you optimize hydration. I mean, just like any big repair job, cells need plenty of water to work effectively. And finally, you balance the microbiome with the right nutrition. This creates a healthy, thriving garden for all those good serotonin-producing bacteria to finally flourish, which in turn calms the mind from the inside out.
So the next time you see your dog acting out, maybe don't just see it as a personality flaw or a failure on your part. Instead, maybe just ask yourself, could this be a cry for help? Could their behavior actually be a message sent straight from their second brain telling you that something on the inside just isn't right?